Hey everyone, this is Hugh Culver, the author of Give Me a Break. In this video, I want to talk about the expert industry. So the expert industry is made up of speakers and seminar leaders. It's made up of coaches and facilitators and authors and online marketing. So if you're not in the expert industry, this video may not be for you. I will be presenting an amazing formula that I use to run my business, in fact, to run a large part of my life. That may be of interest to you, but the actual topic is really about the expert industry. If you're in the expert industry, there's a few things that I think are pretty amazing about this industry. I mean, number one is, there's a huge demand for people that are talented speakers and seminar leaders, for people that are, really have spent the time and put in the years to figure out something about, how to be more successful as a leader, or how to have more of a balanced life, or how to have a more successful relationship. There's a huge demand for that. And the cool thing about this industry is that, you really create the rules. I mean, think about it. You get to set your own hours. You get to decide what you're going to sell, what you're not going to sell. You get to decide what kind of clients you want to work with. It can be highly lucrative. I mean, there's people that are making easily six-figure, seven-figure incomes, working about half the year. You can get to provide great service as well. One of the things that I find most rewarding about being in this industry is I get to help people. I mean, there's nothing more satisfying than at the end of a keynote presentation to have people come up and talk about how this has really opened their eyes, or how it's going to really help them with their life, or how there's a surprising result that came to them as they were listening to me, or they're reading my book, or they're watching some of my material online. So it's a fantastic industry to be in, no doubt. It's a great industry to be in. The challenge is you have to do it all. The challenge is most of us are entrepreneurs. So most of us get up in the morning, we run the business, and by the time the sun goes down at the end of the day, we've either done a great job, we've built our success, or it's another day of flatlining in the company. So what I want to talk about in this video is what I've discovered about how to be successful. Because I know what it's like to put in a lot of time and effort and not get more returns. I also know what it's like to go year after year and not really feel like, you're busy, but not really feel like you're moving ahead. Part of it is because I really didn't have a formula. Part of it was because I was continually trying to make up how to run this kind of a business, and I really didn't have a sort of a framework to build my whole company on. And so I've spent 18 years in this industry, and I've had lots of success, but I've also had a lot of years when I really didn't feel like I was moving forward. I've also had a lot of years when I felt completely burnt out, because I really didn't know how to manage my time and my energy well. So everything came onto my shoulders. Even when I had employees, I would take full responsibility for everything that they were doing. So it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe to burn out. It's a recipe to become, really lose your motivation. It's a recipe for really not moving forward. So what I want to share with you is how to actually get out of that, and how to move forward with a really simple framework that you can use every day to give you direction. In fact, I think this framework actually helps to not only give you direction, but to keep you inspired. Because what it does is it shows you how to focus on what's most important, and how to not focus on what's not important. And that's a huge distinction. So it's easy to look at, where I want to go, but we also have to remember that there's things that we have to let go of in order to get to where we want to get to. Okay, so let me share with you how this works. So the formula is really simple, and as I present it to you, I want you to understand that even though it's a simple formula, I don't want you to think that this is too simple, that it's not going to apply. This is the same formula that I've used in the last 2 years to transform everything about my business. Just as an example, in the last 2 years, I've moved from a large office to a smaller office, immediately reducing my stress levels and my cost. I've been able to reduce my product offering, the number of programs that I offer, the titles I offer, down by 1/2. I've written and published my first book, which is on its way to become a national bestseller. I've launched a year-long program, which I'm totally jazzed about, which allows me to teach and mentor people in my industry and to watch their businesses flourish. And best of all, I've doubled my income, and I work half the days that I used to work 2 years ago. So if you're interested in how to create that kind of success in your business, here's the formula that I use. So first of all, we all need to be really clear about this. So what are my beliefs? You know, in the expert industry, it's really easy to become sort of myopic. It's really easy to focus on what have I done in the past and how do I improve it moving forward in the future. But what we need to do is we need to really blow open our beliefs. First of all, we need to believe in ourselves. We need to believe that it is possible to create massive change in our business literally within a month. It is possible to have your best year ever without really becoming a #1 best-selling author or, you know, having successfully climbed Everest or some amazing achievement. It is possible to create your best year ever. So what do beliefs do? Well, beliefs are like a filter. So beliefs are the way that I interpret the world and everything that comes at me. Beliefs are the way that I see opportunities. You know, if I don't believe that something is possible, I'm going to ignore that opportunity, that phone call, that email, that person dropping by. I will ignore that opportunity because I don't see it. Like what I see is I see my world as it is now. Beliefs allow me to overcome setbacks. And there are going to be setbacks. You know, in the expert industry, you are creating your future and you're going to get disappointments. You're going to get things that don't work. You're going to get people that say, no, thank you, not right now, or we're not interested. So beliefs help me to overcome that and to keep my sights on what's most important. And I think most importantly, beliefs help me to be optimistic. So when I believe in myself through my daily disciplines and through my daily meditations, I can actually maintain my own optimism without always having to get that from the public or from my audience. So this is the #1 thing. So we need to create a filter that serves us. I mean, I use the word beliefs, but you can also think in terms of paradigms, or you can think in terms of interpretation or judgments or assumptions. But beliefs to me is all about how I filter what's going on. So the thing to do, first of all, if you want to reevaluate your beliefs, is simply be aware of your stories. You know, I used to have a story that, you know, really my success was sort of limited because of my history. In other words, whatever I'd done in the past lays the groundwork for what I can create in the future. And that's totally nonsense. And what I've come to understand is that that story doesn't serve me. All it does is it helps me to recreate the past. What I want to do is I want to be able to create the kind of future that I'm going to enjoy, that my family's going to be able to enjoy, that I can serve more people with. So how do I change from focusing on the past and to focusing on the future? I have to, first of all, be aware of the story. So what are the stories I tell myself every day? And then choose the story that I want to wake up to. All right, #2 is we got to look at good old-fashioned goals. So here we go again. Goals. But what is it about goals that we need to be focusing on? Well, I believe in the expert industry, we need to create our own vision. We don't want to start thinking in terms of, well, how can I get incrementally better or incrementally bigger next year? We want to think big. I believe that goals have this magic ingredient, which is tension. When you create a goal that challenges you about creating a new future, you automatically create this kind of tension between where you're at and where you want to get to. And this is a really healthy tension to have. You know, we need to have this stretch between where am I at today and where do I want to get to. And I believe that as long as the goals are achievable, that tension is a healthy tension. And that's something that's going to get me out of bed in the morning. It's going to give me focus. What it's also going to do is it's going to attract opportunities to me. You know, what I find is that as soon as I set a goal for myself about something that I think is going to be, you know, exciting, it's going to serve other people, it's going to do great stuff, people start, I mean, it's the weirdest thing. People start phoning me up. I start to see opportunities. I start to see things that help me to achieve my goal. Without those goals, I'm completely oblivious. I don't even notice them. The last thing that goals do is they help me to be effective. You see, when I have a goal, I have this sense of urgency. Like I have to achieve what I'm setting out to achieve. You know, it's like the day before vacation. I know I've got to get this done by the end of the day. There's just no alternative. I have to get it done. And that's what goals do. And I believe there's 3 types of goals. There's that long-term goal. There's that bolder, that vision I have for 5 years or 10 years down the road, where I see myself and I see how I am serving other people. Then we have to have our goal for the year. And then I believe in the expert industry, we should have a goal for the seasons. So we should have a goal which matches the type of seasons that you normally go through, because I believe there's a natural ebb and flow to every season. So in my case, I always think that there's really 4 seasons. There's the season which is, I call it the ski season, but it's basically December, January, and February, where really that's a time for me to relax and spend lots of time with my family and be outdoors. And then there's the spring season, which goes till the end of June, which is really a high productive season where I'm launching all sorts of new projects. A lot of the plans I made the previous year are now coming to fruition. We're attracting new clients. And then we go into the summer season, and then we go into the fall season. So I always think there's 4 seasons. And I believe you should always be taking your long-term goals and vision, boiling that down to the year, and then boiling it down to the seasons. So the first thing that I would recommend everybody does is they create those goals and then boil it down into 1 calendar year. What is it my year going to look like? See, one of the mistakes that I made for so many years was I would wait to see what kind of business I would attract, and then I would build my calendar around that. And I believe we should preempt our business. We should preempt our calendar by building it first. So what happens when we start to build our own calendar is we start to attract opportunities that are going to fill in that calendar, and we start to look forward rather than looking back. Okay, next is we have to get excellent systems. So once we have clear beliefs and this filter working to our advantage, once we have goals that stretch us and create that tension, we need to have systems that help us to be effective. See, one of the challenges I think in the expert industry is that we're all entrepreneurs. And as entrepreneurs, we have a lot of knowledge around how to do our bookkeeping and how to do our filing and how to organize our calendar and how to deal with the clients, during and after the event. But systems are going to help us to actually understand how to do that effectively. So an example of a system would be, well, how is it that I manage a simple client transaction? If I'm a coach, how is it that I manage all the steps from, the initial inquiry to the end of the entire process, whether that's, 3 months or a year or 5 years down the road? Like, how do I handle that? Like, what is my checklist, if you will, that helps me to be effective so that I'm not recreating it every time? If I'm a keynote speaker, what do I do before the actual presentation? What do I do during the presentation? What do I do after the presentation so that I have a system that actually allows me to be more effective? It also allows me to hand off parts of that process to other people that I trust. So systems are this amazing investment. They're like the core building blocks of my company. And when I have effective systems, I have something that helps me to be more effective with my writing, so that I can do that in a much more streamlined and fashion, so it doesn't take me forever and ever to complete the writing project. I have something for my delegations, for my planning. I have something for my marketing. I have even for my bookkeeping. I have a system. So systems are an investment, but it's the difference between being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. So we have systems. And then we move into habits. So one of my favorite topics is habits, because habits are like these invisible servants. And when I have an effective habit, it is automatically helping me every day. It's helping me to know how to maintain my fitness so that I don't really have to think about it every day. I just have a habit. It's helping me with my diet and the food that I eat because I have healthy habits. I don't have to think about it. I just know that these are things that are good for me. It's as simple as every morning when I drink my glass of water. I don't think about that. It's just something I automatically do. But I know that's going to serve me long term. But I also have habits around how I communicate with people, how I maintain, a clear workspace so that my head is uncluttered, how I maintain healthy reading habits so I can actually complete a book and actually take something away and actually have information I can use in the future, as opposed to, wow, it took me 3 months to get through it and I can't remember anything about the book. I have habits around my TV watching and how much time I would spend on YouTube. I have habits around my sleep. So habits are something that obviously we have to invest in them, but once we invest in them and once we develop them, they're amazing servants that serve us. So we have our beliefs, how I filter, how I interpret the world so that I can maintain my vision and my optimism, and how I can actually attract opportunities to me. We have my goals, which create the tension, which keep me moving forward. We have systems, which make me more effective so that I actually am streamlined and I'm actually able to delegate off parts of my responsibilities. And we have our habits, which are these invisible servants, which help me to be healthier and more effective. And the final part of this whole model is we need to be investing in continual improvement. So we need to also be looking at, okay, great, now how am I actually getting better? You know, we've all seen people get up on stage and talk about this amazing thing that they did 20 years ago, or this fantastic book that they wrote 10 years ago. My question always is, well, what have you done this year? Like, what have you, what have you done this year that we can learn from? Because whether you were successful or not, you were investing in continual improvement. You know, I think that one of the things that keeps us exciting for our audience and for the people that we're serving and keeps ourselves excited is to be investing in continual improvement. Whether it's a great book that we've heard about it, we searched it out, we read it, we really digested it and pulled out some key nuggets for ourselves, or this great course that we went on where we actually went back to our office and we actually applied what we learned as opposed to putting that binder on the shelf. Whether we actually take every Friday and we actually spend time to review, where am I at? Like, how am I doing with my long-term vision? And how am I doing with the way that I plan and manage my time? And what do I need to change immediately so that I can actually get better? It's in terms of the risks that we take. You know, what risks are we taking every week? So that we're exploring, we're actively learning. Like, are you changing the way that you ask for things? Are you changing the way that you thank people? Are you changing the way that you start your whole day? So I believe that continual improvement is the juice. It's the juice that makes all of this exciting. So there you have it. Beliefs, goals, systems, habits, and continual improvement. Now, why do I think this is so important? Well, first of all, I like the fact that it's simple, so I can remember it. But secondly, what I love about it is that it's a framework that I can apply all of these crazy thoughts that I have onto this framework, and then I can actually start to create success from it. Now, not always, I mean, I don't always have runaway success, but what I'm doing is I'm always moving forward because I have a way to apply these new crazy ideas so that I can move them forward and I can test them out and I can start to see, is this actually going to move my company forward? So I hope that this serves you. I hope that this framework, if nothing else, opens your eyes to question, well, what is my framework? Like, how is it that I run my expert enterprise? How is it that I actually move my company forward? And I hope that, if nothing else, it helps you to make one change that's going to serve you better. Okay, thanks for watching the video. And until next time, be your best, see the best in others, and make it happen. Thanks a lot.